Welcome to WagerTalk Today, the gold standard of sports betting shows where we talk the talk and walk the walk. It's a big Thursday, and don't look now, ladies and gents, but we have gone 3-0 in WTF LFG. We are looking for the big streak. Can we go 5-0? Dan, come on in here. No pressure, but we got a big show here. First off, tell everyone who we got. And then we got to get to WTF LFG because Jake Wallman's a wagon at this point.
I mean, be excited, folks, because obviously Gianni is back. Gianni the Greek is going to be breaking down your Steam sheet, let you know what he's seeing, some sharp action. That's coming in mere moments. But what we have been doing on the show to kick it off for the last few weeks, Andy, we do WTF or LFG. We give you one play, typically a prop, and we say you following or fading this thing. And Andy took over this week simply because a lot of stuff that I'm not betting hasn't been in play early enough. And Andy, resoundingly so, 3-0 out the gate. So in the first minute of the show, you've gotten a play that is cashed. 3 straight shows here, folks. So hit the like button and subscribe, because when you go live, then you're going to know that play is coming. Joe Raineri's after Gianni the Greek. He's going to talk Super Bowl 60, of course. Maybe have some props for you. Hornets, Rockets, Sixers, Lakers. 2 NBA free plays coming your way from Joe Raineri. And then Kyle Anthony will be the final guest on the program. He's talking UFC Vegas 113. He's talking main event, and he's got another play for you in a bonus fight. That's coming from Kyle Anthony here on the show. Andy's taking you all around the world, which has been feast or famine. So hopefully feast today, Andy. And by the end of the show, folks, we're going to start doing some novelty props for you. I've got a best bet on an officiating prop, and Andy has a whole cavalcade of these fun bets for you. 7 coming your way. So free plays galore, Andy. Let's get right into it. WTF or LFG. You have just been cooking, brother. So what are we doing here? We cashed NBA and 2 NHL ones. Are we going NHL or are we going back to the hardwood?
We're going back to the hardwood, and a lot of trades have happened. And what happens is there's a lot of uncertainty. There's also a lot of role players that get opportunities that they haven't been getting. On prop line yesterday, I talked about Ty Jerome. He was our play of the day on that show. A guy that plays for Memphis. Now that Memphis traded a bunch of guys, John Moran is out. He had a lot of minutes and a lot of shot attempts. We're going to the Golden State Warriors, and today's play is Guy Santos over 9.5 points. He seems to be the beneficiary of the Warriors players getting hurt and the trades. Dan, in October and November, he was averaging 7 minutes and 1.5 made field goals. Now he's averaging 24 minutes and 12.6 points per game. He's making 2 threes per game. He's shooting 65% from the field. Steph Curry is a big fan of his. Steve Kerr was not a fan of his, and he was struggling to get playing time, but now he stepped in, and here's the biggest thing. He's been really good since Jimmy Butler went out. So you hate to see injuries, but it opens up avenues for other guys. And when you watch Guy Santos play, he passes the eye test. This point total is too low. He plays a pretty tough team in Phoenix. They're good defensively, but the opportunities are going to be there. I can't pass it up. Guy Santos over 9.5 points. WTF or LFG.
I mean, Andy, we're cashing 3 straight here. Let's go for 4 straight. Can we get the sweep on the week? You know this is an LFG. So as I do customarily, we'll bring in our first guest, and I'll get to place this bet because I've cashed 3 straight of them. And for those of you saying, 3-0, does it really matter? Small sample size. Andy and I have gone 20-13 on these plays to start the show. So let's keep it above that nice line that we are at, Andy. I like it. It's a LFG for me. Comment below if you're following or fading. But no further ado, Andy, let's get to Gianni. Gianni, welcome back, buddy. Good to see you again. How's the week been going?
Never better, man. It's been an amazing week so far. Up over the last 3 days, number 1 in profit, 23 units. Up over the last 7 days, up over the last 30 days, and up for 2026, exactly as expected. We've now have booked a month into the books, and we're ahead. Now it's on to turn in a winning February and just keep moving forward, brother. I'm excited. And with the markets crashing, opportunities are everywhere for us. So, yeah, it's a great time to be alive.
Great time to be alive. Markets are crashing.
Markets are crashing. That means buy back in is the Gianni way.
All right, Yanni, where do you want to start? Super Bowl? I mean, I
Yeah,
haven't seen
why
much
not?
change
Why
here.
not?
Yeah,
Why
let's
not?
see what we got.
Yes, man. I mean, here's the bottom line. We're starting to see a little more of the two-way action. Yes, the favorite usually ends up getting more of the money because, again, they're the favorite. That's who everyone's talking about. And especially in this case where you have a little bit of recency bias with, New England in a really ugly game against Denver in the snow, where they only put up 10 points. So I expected that. I mean, we're saying the same thing where the money started coming in on Seattle. But as we approach Super Bowl Sunday, you're getting a little more New England money. And it makes sense because neither of these teams have lost by more than one score this entire season. Like, other than their worst losses, I think, was in week 1. And since then, neither of these teams have lost by more than a touchdown. So I could see why, many expect a tight, lower scoring game, especially when you look at the total already at 45 in a lot of the sharp shops. And that's very surprising. Not surprising that the sharps are on the under, just surprising that the lines moved that significantly, because I just would be very surprised to see the recreational bettors on Saturday night and Sunday morning come in on the under when it's sitting at 45. I understand that these two teams are defensive minded, number 1 and number 2, more or less. But on the offensive side of the ball, they're potent. I mean, so again, I'll be surprised if the recreational bettors come in on the under in this game. So I do think when it kicks off, the books will probably be needing the sharps to be right with a lower scoring game. But as far as the side, they're going to tell you this: we'd like New England to cover, but probably not win outright, is what they're going to say, because they're going to get a lot of New England money line action. And Seattle will be minus the spread. So if New England covers the spread but doesn't win the game, it'll probably be best case scenario for the books. And if it stays under, that's what they're going to say. But does it really matter? Because as I said before, whether it goes favored and over, favored and under, dog and over, dog and under on this Super Bowl, I can guarantee, I almost stopped myself from saying guarantee, but I can guarantee the books will not lose money. Monday morning, when Vegas reports, they will have turned probably a double-digit return on investment on this type of Super Bowl.
I feel like this is not a heavily bet Super Bowl at this moment. We haven't seen a lot of line movements. I haven't seen movements in props that much. Normally by this point, you see props all over the place. You've seen spreads and totals. I don't know if the numbers are just that dialed in or if people don't have strong convictions, but I feel like at the end of the day, this might be one of the lesser bet Super Bowls in the last 10 years.
Yeah. Again, New England's New England. They got the franchise, they are who they are, and they have that name recognition. But this matchup isn't your attractive, sexy matchup. Again, the entire season with New England, everybody was just waiting for them to regress. The talk was, they're getting lucky. They're not this good. They got the easiest strength of schedule. Like, that was all the talk. And then even with Seattle, it wasn't until late in the season that Seattle was really mentioned as a Super Bowl contender. We knew that the strength was in the NFC, but it was more talking about the Rams, San Francisco, Philadelphia, even, Detroit, Green Bay. And granted, Seattle was up there, but they just kind of came out of nowhere, I think. So I think it doesn't have that attractiveness, doesn't have that excitement that you just got to get down. And then coming off games, like, again, NFC Championship was a little exciting. AFC Championship was a dud. So I just think that's what we're dealing with right now. And you got to remember, it's been a long season of betting. Bettors are burnt out by the time you get to the Super Bowl. Rest assured, Monday morning, a lot of serious bettors will be taking a break for a couple of days. It just happens every Super Bowl. And recreational bettors definitely take a break after months of fantasy football and all of that. So I think it's a little bit of both, that you don't have the most sexy matchup, and burnout, man. Burnout after, 6 months of hardcore football and fantasy and all the contests. I think people are a little bit burnt out, but they'll get excited when the weekend gets here. Once Saturday's here. Actually, here in Vegas, we'll start feeling it tomorrow night as people start checking in, and you'll see the lines in the lobby start to get long, and people start wearing their New England and Seattle jerseys. And then Saturday, they'll start betting. The casino lines will start getting longer and longer, and people will be looking up props and stuff like that. And I highly recommend, if you're in Las Vegas and you're going to be placing prop bets, straight bets, parlays, whatever you plan on doing, do not wait till Sunday morning late. Get your bets in early, because I promise you, you will be standing in line for a while. There's bettors that never placed a bet ever that don't even know how to do it. And they're going to walk up to the counter and they're going to say, I want to bet New England. They don't know how they're going to bet New England. So they're taking 5-10 minutes to place a simple $5 straight bet. And that's going to happen during Super Bowl weekend. So don't wait until the last minute to place your bets. If you're waiting in line, you may get shut out.
Gianni, I'm looking at props here, and some of the popular props are the ones that jumped off the board to me, like Kenneth Walker receiving props. That's been a cash cow since Charbonnet got out. Line hasn't moved. Matt Collins, line hasn't moved. That's been a popular prop play. I'm just not
that
seeing
scares
movement.
me. That scares me, because the Kenneth Walker got hit by multiple groups. That was one that I saw in multiple accounts from different groups. That's rare with the props, because most props are like originators, bring out stuff, their group hits it, the line moves too much for anyone else to really take advantage. But on that particular prop, that's why I'll tell you, I even sent it out as a 4%, and I rarely send 4% props. They're usually 2 and 3%, but I saw something I rarely see. And like I said, it was multiple groups betting it, and they were going over 20.5, over 20.5, up to like minus 140, 150, even over 21.5. And in fact, it did get up to like 22.5 the next day. But since then, you're absolutely right. It's done nothing but come back down. So obviously there was a difference in opinion, because some group out there definitely didn't think the over 20.5, 21.5 had a ton of value, because they came back and blasted that under. So yeah, that scared me, because like I said, I knew it was sharp, and I knew a lot of guys I respect were on it, and we're supposed to see that total go off at 23.5. So now I feel like my roofie bet in the UFC last week, I'm hoping to be the product of good luck, because I got a bad number.
I just sent that out yesterday. I was waiting. I was like, this line has got to move. Like, surely people are hammering it. And I didn't want to set out a bad line, but it's held strong at 20.5, 21.5. So I got to ride it. Yeah, just very, very strange markets for the Super Bowl this year.
Yeah, for sure. I agree. The prop market, I talked about it the first day. Second day, it confused me a little bit because of the overs. A lot of overs from the sharp bettors, mostly overs. And that, again, I get it. Get out ahead of the market, work some middles. But the amount was a little bit surprising, considering the game's being bet under.
Well, let's move to the hardwood. Let's talk a little basketball, and then, of course, we'll break UFC. It's UFC Thursday here. So what do you see in college basketball-wise?
All right. Let me give you some of these early Steam sheet plays. 8:17 Eastern Illinois plus the 10.5. 8:37 CS Bakersfield plus 16.5. 8:07 Abilene Christian plus 13.5. 8:23 Memphis plus the 2.5. 7:77 Merrimack minus the 3.5. Added board game 3:06 5:62 Bryant plus the 1.5. And then in the NBA, we had where was that? Brooklyn, but Publix on them as well. That got like an overnight 11.5. It got bet, and then at 10.5 as well. Washington, Detroit, dude, that came out at like 17. You saw money come in on Washington right away. Again, a lot of those were overnights. Some of the stuff that got follow through under Chicago, Toronto, that total, they went under on the overnight, then came under again today. Another game that seemed to have gotten dummied up and that's the Houston-Charlotte side where they bet it down, and then they came in today and hit Houston. Laid 3.5 on the Houston side against Charlotte. And then where was it? There was one more last game on the board. Yeah, Lakers, Philadelphia. Once it moved down, see, it got dummied down overnight. They laid the 3.5 this morning. So on screen, if you look, it'll look like, wait, it opened 5. It's sitting at 4 right now. So, okay, they steamed Philadelphia. No. If you click your odds logic screen, the game, what you're going to see is that one dipped down to 3.5, even 3 in some places. And that's where the real money came in on the Lakers at -3, 3.5. So that's why I love that odds logic. Even the WagerTalk free odds allows you to do that, where you could click the matchup, the line, and it'll show you how the line progressed from the opener. And real quickly, I have an NHL because today's Steam sheet has a 4%. Comfortably sitting at number 1 NHL profit, sneaking in those bets, staying selective. But I found a 4% today. That's the Steam sheet special. And here's one I'm trying to confirm between now and when they drop that puck. Florida, Tampa Bay, under 6. I like that. I like it. See what the juice is, but I'm leaning under Florida, Tampa Bay. So there's some ice, some hardwood, and some NFL. We even got UFC coming up, right? Saturday.
Yeah, let's talk a little UFC. We can go to the main event here. The line's, I guess money's come in on Oliveira a little bit. We got Bautista, Oliveira on DraftKings. I see Bautista down to -155, Oliveira +130. That's dog or pass for me, but I can't say it's a super strong opinion.
I bet it. I did. I sent it out to subscribers on Oliveira. Again, I've been a fan of Bautista. He's been undervalued, underappreciated for sure. And in fact, I made some money off of him during his 7-fight win streak. But coming off his loss against Umar, I think Oliveira's catching him at the right spot. Because if you looked at those wins prior to the Nurmagomedov loss, it was against Patchy Mix, and we know how he's done. It was against Jose Aldo. We know where he is in his career. And I think Bautista's moving towards that place as well. Like not getting the title shot, even winning all those fights. I think we're going to start seeing the decline. And I think Oliveira's catching him at the right time. And the kid's got sick takedown defense. I think it holds here. And I think he starts picking him apart with the volume. I like Oliveira.
If you haven't watched Vinicius Oliveira fight, he's a trip, man. He's a trick.
Yeah.
He has his hands down at his side, and he just hits like a tank. He just walks forward and hits like a tank. He's about as tough as they come. Any other interesting line moves here? I see money's coming in on Jailton Almeida. I guess that kind of makes sense. Any other?
Yeah, and I wouldn't be too sure. I kind of like Kuniev there. I do actually like Kuniev there because I like that he's coming off a split decision loss. But who was that against? That was against Curtis Blades. So here's Kuniev, who was on the Contender Series in 2021, gets a knockout, doesn't get a contract. Returns in 2024, gets a first-round knockout this time, so they give him a contract. Who do they give him as his first fight? Curtis freaking Blades, dude, who had just come off a title fight against Aspinall, and prior to that had just knocked out Almeida, and prior to that had just won 3 of 4. So in his UFC debut, they throw him in the deep end against Curtis Blades. That tells me everything I need to know about who this Kuniev guy is, at least what the UFC thinks of him. Almeida, coming off that loss against Volkov, that was just an ugly fight. And I love that the judges are saying you can't just hold the guy down. If you don't do any damage, we're not giving you the round. And it cost them. And coming off that split decision, I think that the game plan's there, and I think Kuniev could execute. So I do like the Kuniev side there. I know I'm on an island, and I even think the sharp money is on Almeida, but I had circled Kuniev coming off that split decision loss because the fact that they put him in against Blade tells me what they think about him, and the fact it was a split decision loss, yeah, you got a motivated guy to get his first UFC win. Again, that don't mean much. But I just like the matchup there as well.
Two terrible fighters, Varon Tennikov and Nico Price. I just can't believe I get to bet against Nico Price again.
Yeah.
I have to make money betting against Nico Price. He's got a million kids. he's a shell of himself. He keeps taking fights because he does have a million kids. It's a late fight, like both on short notice. I don't know. It's a weird fight.
He's fought 9 times since COVID. 9 times. You know how many times you got to go back to the window? 2. That's it. 2 times. That's it. All the other 7 times, this is what you did. Here's 7 other times. Your ticket. 7 out of 9. So yeah.
I will
bet Nico Price.
That probably warrants a trip to the casino for me. Between now
talk
and
about ROI. See, those are the kind I don't mind betting, and I know recreational bettors will be like, "That's so square," or "How can you give out a -200 and say something stupid like that?" But the truth of the matter is, bro, if you think the line should be so much higher, you gotta fire. And in this spot, like -270, that's a gift. If this kid
Against
doesn't win
Nico,
4 out of 5 times, there's something wrong.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, shell of himself. So, all right, Gianni, what do you have up for everybody on this Thursday?
All right, Super Bowl package is up. I think I'm up to like 12 bets in there right now. We will keep firing between now and Super Bowl Sunday, where we will have the Steam Room. It'll be about at least 60 minutes where we cover the Super Bowl side, total props. That will be on Super Bowl Sunday. I'm having it early in the day, so you can go out and enjoy the Super Bowl with friends and family. That package is up there. My UFC package is up there, coming off a 7-1. As I said, coming off of my first losing year in like 5 in MMA. So 2026, excited about this year. And finally, today's Steam sheet's already out with a 4% in the NHL. And if I'm able to box together a couple basketball plays, I'll put a package up as well. They've won every single night. Mondays 3-pack, Tuesdays 3-pack, Wednesdays 4-pack. Every single night turned a profit. So I'll see if I can put one together for you guys tonight as well. Otherwise, let's just do some damage as we head into Super Bowl weekend, baby. Best of luck.
All right, Steam report, Steam sheet. Yanni's basically a sauna at this point. It's just so much steam coming in. So thanks, Yanni. Good luck this week. Tomorrow. Did you release Kenneth Walgover receiving yards? Yes, we both did. We got 20.5. So we got our 5% Super Bowl best bet that's up, and then in the write-up I put all of the other props that were on. That's the only one I've added. Like I said, Dan, I'm really confused by these prop markets and the lack of movement. I'm just waiting to see if I've missed something. I've never seen a complete lack of movement in these prices, but it's time to fire away, I guess. So,
Andy, you see it in the comments, like going back and forth with folks just across the channel, like there really isn't much sizzle to this game, and it's not only because, Patriots, Seahawks, with the Seahawks, it's surprising to me because it feels like people are burnt out by this game already. You know what I mean? And the betting markets have reflected that, like especially side and total hasn't budged. And that happens in the Super Bowl. You know what I mean? There's that initial move and then it kind of settles in. Does it change any on Sunday? But really, this game more so than any in recent memory, and maybe it's because I'm an Eagles homer, so whenever the Eagles are in the Super Bowl, I'm pumped up over it. But it feels like there isn't much, ballyhooing about it. It seems like it's kind of, people are kind of sick of it already.
I don't have many friends. I don't think I've had one friend say I'm having a Super Bowl party.
No. Maybe we're just old as shit, Andy.
No, I mean, like every year, there's something going on, but yeah, there's not a lot of buzz about there's a lot of show. Here's another thing. A lot of like sports shows, they normally go to Super Bowl and no. Like, yeah, I watch Colin Cowherd. He's in the studio. He's not down there.
Well, it's like even our very own Kelly in Vegas. She's like going, but she said, I'm not staying for the game. She's leaving on Saturday. So she's like at Radio Row. And then she's like, I don't even care. I could have gotten tickets to the game. And I don't care. So I have a feeling if the Broncos would have made it, Kelly might have felt a little bit different. We got Joe Raineri coming up here. Yeah, that is very fair. That is a good point. But we got Joe Raineri coming up here. Mark has a couple questions on some props that David Delano, our friend over there with Picks and Parlays, brought up on a couple videos here on the channel. So Andy and I are going to circle back to that. We're going to talk novelty props at the end of the show here. So no further ado, Joe, sporting your USA best.
Wow.
You're ready for the curling is I'm sure what you're mostly excited for coming up here, the Winter Olympics.
I absolutely enjoy getting a Swiffer in the left hand, a bowling ball in the right, and getting a little late night after a half a bottle of bourbon and creating my own curling match. So yes, I am looking very forward to Team USA smoking Canada on the ice. You guys all know exactly what we're talking about.
Love it, man. Absolutely.
I just bet on the women with blonde hair in curling. Anybody from
that's a good
Nordic
it's
region?
a good formula. It's a good formula.
Absolutely. You know, the floors in their house are amazingly clean. Absolutely unreal. You got a little dirt, you got to get that out of the unreal. Unreal. Yeah, you got to love that. I'm wondering if they use the shake weight to prep for that.
Yes.
How that works.
It's the only way too.
Yeah, that's
the only way too.
Fantastic sport. It really is.
Well, let's talk about Super Bowl. Why not? Do you have any props? Do you have any thoughts? Anything about this Super Bowl? We were talking how there's just doesn't seem to be just a lot of momentum coming into this one. Joe, people say they're glad the Chiefs missed the playoffs. I don't know if the Chiefs are in this. I just think there's more. Like people say they like upsets and they don't like dynasties. Sorry, the ratings show that that's not true. When there's a big upset in March Madness, nobody watches the next game. So there's not a lot of star power in this one, but what's your take on this game?
Well, and the NFL is going to recognize that too when the amount of drop-off they're going to have on viewership this year. Even though, Nielsen hysterically, changed their formula or how they measure. Now everything is the most watched thing in the world now. Like every game is the most watched game. Every NBA game on NBC is the most watched ever. Except you won't have that with this game, Andy. I am with you. And it has nothing to do with Mahomes. It has to do with the simple fact that there will be no Taylor Swift involved in this Super Bowl.
Oh, interesting.
And I can assure you there's going to be a 20% drop in viewership when Swifties aren't tuned in and have no idea what they're watching anyway. So, it's not – I don't think the venue is great. You look at, the opening media night, Andy, it's like 4 dudes like hanging out, asking questions. And it's like, what is going on here? It just doesn't feel like the buzz is there. Now, that's either a good thing or a bad thing, depending on how you're approaching this game. But I talked to Art earlier on the best betting show ever, and he is starting to see those prop markets starting to pick up here. So I would say over the next 48 hours or so, you're going to really start seeing some movement, especially in the prop betting market.
I didn't even think about that without Taylor Swift. That is an audience of people that don't normally watch football.
Correct.
That's really, really interesting. Okay. Yep. Do you have any props that you like?
I got a few, Andy. I put one up yesterday on my page there over at WagerTalk. I didn't understand this number. I still don't understand this number. And to your point, you're not getting a whole lot of movement in a lot of spots. But one of my favorites is Travion Henderson. It was 17.5 rushing yards yesterday. I think it's 18.5 today, which, Andy, makes no sense to me because that's the lowest rushing prop for him all season. I don't get it. His average rushing prop this year was 42.5 yards a game. 42.5. And you're telling me 17.5? Now, last week, because of the snowstorm, he didn't get as many touches because they opted to go safe, go with the bruiser there and go with Ramondre Stevenson. But he's the home run threat here for this running attack of New England. It's not Ramondre Stevenson. It's Henderson. And if he's going to get, which I think he's going to get 5 or 6 attempts here, he only needs one to break one, Andy, to get over 17.5 rushing yards. So I don't understand that at all. I think he is the one guy that if you're expecting a 20-yard or more run, he's the guy that's going to get it. He's the home run threat. So I like the over on the rushing prop for him.
Yeah, Andy,
I agree.
When we talked about those props, we were talking Russian props earlier this week, Joe, and one of the ones that I was eyeing and placed earlier in the week was Travion Henderson over 5 rush attempts, simply because just what you mentioned there is getting way caught up in what happened in the second half of that football game is I think kind of skewing this number. Before those 3 attempts that he had in that AFC Championship game, Joe, 5 or more attempts in 12 straight games. I think that usage is ticking back up, so I love that play.
On a fast track, absolutely, it's going to. Yeah, he is, because he's the guy he's a game changer. You know, Stevenson, if you just want to be methodical, sure, he'll get his in and around the goal line and all of that good stuff. But, yeah, this is a guy that can rip off a 20-yard run, and you can cash that ticket without beating an eye. So I thought that one was very underpriced.
Well, let's move to NBA. A lot of trades. This has been a really interesting trade deadline. Before we get to the games, I have to ask your opinion. I am stunned that there are people that say that the Anthony Davis trade was good for the Wizards.
I don't know what the Wizards are doing, Andy. I mean, apparently the Wizards are like everyone's favorite place to get rid of now aging former stars who you overpaid, and they're just like, send them to the Wizards, get them out, let them go to the Wizards. The Wizards were the team that were trying to sell us with that ownership group about, hey, listen, trust the process, get these guys, we've got the draft. They got a lot of really nice young talent on that team. And now it's like, all right, let's bring in the Trae Youngs and the Anthony Davises of the world. I know why Dallas is doing it, because Dallas is now just trying to wash the stink off from that whole Doncic disaster here and get rid of it. But they're also trying to build around, obviously, their franchise player in Cooper Flagg now. So I don't mind it from Dallas's point, but I don't know what the plan is for the Wizards moving forward. Why they keep gathering all of these has-been overpriced players is a little bit beyond me at this point.
Well, the reasons the Wizards are doing it is because the Kings are full. The Kings already have DeMar DeRozan, Zach LaVine. They're like, we can't overpay these guys, and the Wizards like, we'll take them. Thank you very much. But yeah, Trae Young and Anthony Davis is such a strange
that you're going to have to pay if you want to. So like, I don't even know what you're doing. You're going to have to pay Trae Young now. So
no draft capital.
And no draft cap. I don't know what they're doing there. The whole thing is very strange to me. And what are we, T-minus 2.5 hours before, is Giannis played his last game in a Bucks uniform? And why is Ja Morant still on Memphis? Nobody wants it. Like, you can't give him away right now, Memphis? Is that what's going on?
I think Minnesota is, or they traded Conley. They freed up some they freed up some salary cap. I thought they were going to try and make a big move. That's the team that I don't be surprised if Minnesota does something for them. They could desperately use a point guard.
He's such a good locker room guy. So I'm assuming he'll get along fantastically with Ant. Yeah, I think that's just outstanding stuff there. Whew.
Well, let's break down a couple of games tonight. Hornets, Rockets. Sixers, Lakers. We'll start with the Hornets and the Rockets. Rockets, looks like Kevin Durant is in. Looks like Charlotte will have most of their guys. So these teams weren't totally affected by the trades with their starting lineup. So Houston minus 3.5. Hornets playing really good ball recently, over under a paltry 216.5. How do you break this game down?
Yeah, well, I mean, it's interesting, right? Because the Hornets end up getting Kobe White from Chicago, right? And now all of a sudden, a very potent offense just became that much more potent. Now, he's not going to play a lick of defense, don't get me wrong. But my goodness, they've got some rotations now that they can throw out there that can just bomb away. The Hornets and the Celtics are very similar. They love to shoot the three, and it makes sense because Charles Lee, he was an assistant with the Celtics here. So he understands that concept. And this team is filled with snipers right now. And the Rockets, this is the second of a back-to-back. It's the third game in 4 nights. And they just got lit up by the Celtics last night, who were shorthanded with Brown not playing and everyone else. They're making trades in the middle of the night. Simons is gone, and they still let up this Houston team. Houston has not been good on the second of back-to-backs under Udoka. This is not a team here that I would be running to the window to lay a whole lot of points, especially against one of the hottest offenses and the hottest teams in the NBA. I mean, they've got a net rating of close to 10 over the last 12 games. I wouldn't go anywhere near Houston in this spot. Don't trust them. I do think Charlotte's certainly worth a look, not only grabbing the points, but a little something on the money line as well.
Yeah, the Hornets are where did they come from? I didn't see this from a LaMelo Ball team. I mean, Con Knipple's been great, Brandon Miller. All of a sudden, the Hornets have one of the best cores in the league. Pretty impressive on their part. Let's break down the Sixers and the Lakers. Embiid is questionable. I feel like they can just put questionable next to him for the rest of his career. Austin Reeves is back. I think they're kind of limiting his minutes, but the Lakers, I think we're kind of the ultimate, like, I don't really trust this team. And yet here they are, 4-point favorites, over under 224. Are you buying the Lakers as a favorite tonight?
I am not buying the Lakers against any team that is one game over 500. Let's just look at the last 5 games and the wins here. By the way, they just come off a 5-game road trip, right? Or even more than that here at this point. This is their first game back home, right? They had to go on the road forever because they opted, I don't know what's worse, having to, leave home because the Grammys have to happen, or, having to go there now and play Laker basketball against teams that are over 500. Chicago Bulls, right? They won that game. Kudos, under 500. Cleveland, not so good, right? Well, a team that's actually a little bit better than 500. How about Washington? Oh, the Lakers beat them. Why? They suck. They got 12 wins. You got all of a sudden the Knicks, right? What happened to the Knicks? Oh, they lost. They got beat up there. Oh, but they beat Brook. That's right, under 5. You're seeing a trend here. Last I checked, this Philadelphia team more than capable and beat on the court or not. Just ask Golden State the other night how that worked out for them. Yeah, no, I cannot trust the Lakers in any way, shape, or form. And by the way, I mean, not having, Hayes available because he ends up punching the Wizards mascot. I mean, that tells you everything you need to know right there, Andy. Abs can't trust them. Absolutely not. I would not sweat out an under in this game either, but it's Sixers a pass for me.
That's a real thing that happened. Joe, that, like, it sounds like a joke.
No, it's
that
not.
is not a joke. Jackson Hayes is out because he punched the Washington Wizards mascot. That is a real thing that happened in the NBA.
Yeah. But is Dan betting the Sixers tonight? Is Dan backing him, or is he still wallowing in misery?
It's a great question. I mean, all I know is everyone in Philadelphia is bitching about Jared McCain being traded. That's the only talk of everyone crying about why would they? He's a fan favorite. We loved how much he painted his nails. That's the only thing that I've been seeing on X, Joe, was the sadness for McCain being moved.
Oh, yeah. I'm sure they're crying a lot of tears in the streets of Philadelphia that they won't have to overpay McCain anymore. Yeah,
this is the state of Philadelphia sports. I don't even know if they know that the Sixers are playing. They're all crying because the Eagles' offensive line coach is leaving. So that's the state of Philadelphia sports.
That's wonderful. Yeah, no.
It wasn't that they traded Jared McCain. It's that they traded them to the Thunder, giving them yet another just fell into a decent player. They're the opposite of the Wizards.
Yeah, they are the opposite of the Wizards. Exactly correct. Much opposite of things. But good luck, because it's not like he's a wealth of health over the last couple of seasons either. So let's see how long that lasts.
Guys, I know, too, you were talking trade deadlines right at the top. We've been on air, but it just popped across just a couple minutes ago. I'm sure you saw it, too, Joe, that Shams said that Giannis will not be moved. He's going to be staying with the Bucks. So wanted to get your take on thoughts on that. Is that what you expected? Do you think they just couldn't find a suitor for the price? What do you think about the fact that he's staying pat?
Well, I think the minute that you saw Golden State, who was at the top of the list, move on last night and go for Porzingis instead, The only other team that was really serious from what we heard was the Miami Heat. But it sounds like, listen, the Bucks and the Heat is a weird thing, right? They wouldn't let Lillard go to Miami, right? He had to go to Milwaukee, and now he's not there anymore. Now they're trying to get Giannis. They don't want nothing to do with Pat Riley and the Heat. They don't want to give him away. Obviously, they think there's maybe some hope there. I'm sure Doc Rivers played a big part in him wanting to. No, I'm only kidding. That's not even remotely close. But listen, it's not a good situation for Giannis, and we've seen in the NBA it's a stars league. If Giannis wants out, and he can say in interviews all he wants that I really love it here, he's going to get out. He will make your franchise a living hell if you don't give him what he wants. It didn't happen now, but it's likely going to be wearing a different uniform come next year.
I was just getting ready, like before Anthony Davis, I was like, I don't know why these teams would trade for Davis and Giannis. These guys are in their 30s that you have to pay so much money to. You better win one. And listen, the Lakers, they did at least win one with Davis, but the other teams haven't been able to figure it out.
I think the problem was the Bucks wanted Doc Rivers as part of the package. Like, if we're trading Giannis, you're getting Doc with him. And then, people like, I can't do that. Nobody wants that at all. But Giannis, he won't play another game likely. I think that calf is going to be hurting a lot now that they can't move him. I think that's what you're going to get from Giannis.
I wish my Pacers would do that to Pascal Siakam. Quit winning games. Can we sit Pascal, please? He's playing too good.
He's an all-star, man. He's all-star.
Really good. He's been great. He's been great. What do you have up for everyone at Wager Talk, Joe?
One big play in college hoops here tonight. 4% in college hoops, 4% in the NBA, 5% in the NFL for the big game on Sunday, along with a whole lot of other props included there, all available over at WagerTalk.com.
Bang. Love the where did you get that shirt? Is it a vest or a shirt?
Yeah. This is awesome, right? This is and I believe
really
it's all
cool.
Is it Kachuk? Yeah, there it is. Boom. There it is.
Nice, man.
Yeah. I was at the game last night in the shootout with watching Marshawn just rip the hearts out of all of the Boston Bruin fans in attendance last night in the shootout. So, yes, it was good to see them finally get off the schneid and win a game. And anytime you can be in attendance and watching Boston fans cry, I think it's absolutely fantastic. I'll pay double next time for that.
Joe Raineri. Joe Raineri. I'll pay
Enjoy. He's not wrong. He's not wrong.
Boston fans crying. Yeah, absolutely. Really good specials that are up at Wager Talk. We've got buy 10 days for the price of 7. We've also got the $99 for a month Super Bowl to Super Bowl special if you're interested in more long term. Boy, Dan, today really starts the big weekend. We've got 4% rugby. We've got 3% soccer. We have 2 4% UFC best bets, and we have a 5% Super Bowl bet. So, man, starting today, locked and loaded. And for those that are asking, we do have a darts play that is available for all access clients. The Premier League of Darts starts this afternoon. And believe it or not, we are going to be doing a live watch-along show for the very first. Yes, we did watch-alongs for the Premier League of Darts, and they were a smash hit. Johnny Detroit told me he watched. He's like, I'm supposed to be doing work, and I'm watching Andy watch darts. This is
the world that we live in, Andy. People love the streamers.
Listen, 18-8 darts run. So we made 7 units on the World Championships. So this is a sport that's gettable in all seriousness. It's a sport that's bettable, and there's some very, very good trends. So get 10 days for the price 7. Get $99 per month from Super Bowl to Super Bowl. And let's keep it rolling. Let's bring in Kyle. We got to talk about darts is so bad. Kyle, you want to join us?
Yes.
The darts watch along? Yay, nay? You good?
This is the big reveal. I'm a part of the darts team.
Yes.
Welcome. throw in a couple. You know what I mean? No, that's
It's like when Rey Mysterio took off his mask. It was like, oh my God, it's Kyle Anthony.
Starts, holy shit.
Play Kyle's music. All right, Kyle, we got UFC Vegas 113. So we're gonna take a look at I believe we're gonna let's take a look at this main event here. Oliveira and Bautista. Never forget, Bautista was a big cash when he fought a realtor in 2022. That is a real thing that happened, but he's fighting much better fighters these days.
Yeah.
So great matchmaking, great main event. This is going to be a great one. How do you break this fight down?
Yeah, so you got Mary Bautista here. He's sitting out right now around that minus 160 mark. You definitely have Oliveira taking some money in here now. And, over his run here in Oliveira, he's on a 6-0 run. 4-0 in the UFC. We have been betting him up here. He's definitely been catching us some nice plus money tickets here. He's very unorthodox, very awkward. A lot of those things that he does do very well. And that's one of the things that really worked out well for him on his run, really, at this point, is that he's kind of creates that chaos, moves forward, has his hands low, swings, and it kind of worked out well for him, I think, stylistically, match-wise, over these last few fights, because he really faced guys who are going to slow down as the fight goes on and can wilt. He fought Bernardo Sopaj, which he was probably down 2 rounds to nothing. Sopaj completely gassed, shooting for multiple takedowns in those first 2 rounds. Credit to Oliveira for landing an absolutely brutal knee, but Sopaj was really looking for the exit at that point. Even Nurmagomedov, Said Nurmagomedov, this is another fight where, Nurmagomedov is the known gasser. He's got about 6.5 minutes in the gas tank, and then he just completely falls off a cliff. It was a competitive fight, but again, he slowed down, allowed Oliveira to get the victory. And even Kyler Phillips in a recent fight, Kyler Phillips is a dynamic striker, absolutely, but he is just terrible cardio, has no physicality, and it was a great matchup, I think, again, for Oliveira and just the way that he's going to move forward. Now, the issue for him in this fight, I think, is the fact that, Bautista has incredible cardio. I mean, this guy is built for 5 rounds, which we're going to have. This is the main event. And he's not going to slow down. And we've seen him push out the volume, push the pace, stay in your face, give the judges something to look at as he just keeps pushing forward. And it was on a nice 8-0 run, and then recently lost to Umar. And I think that's actually pushing this price a little bit here and tightening it because, Umar did go out there. He got 10 takedowns, 11 minutes of control time, but significant strikes landed were only 32-20 favoring Umar. It was the positional that he was able to bank the rounds, but I think that actually was a pretty good performance from Bautista facing one of the elite level guys, a guy that we're all kind of looking at as that next big thing, the next possible title contender. And this is a sizable step up for Oliveira. Again, I've been betting him on this rise, but I don't really like this spot for him really here. And, Bautista is going to be the more well-rounded fighter. I think he's also going to be the far better striker, crisper combinations. You've got Oliveira is a guy that's, going to wing shots. He can be reckless. He can be very wild, especially, again, he's another guy that you can clearly see, in the third round, third round, he starts to really slow down. Now he pushes through it. You got to give him credit. He pushes through some of those things, but he slows down. Now we're talking about 2 extra rounds, and a guy in Bautista, I think, starts to really pick him apart late in this fight. I think a knockout or a submission can materialize here and really put the pressure on Oliveira. And lastly, is the wrestling here. That's one thing I think that people kind of forget how good of a wrestler and grappler Bautista is because of who he has faced, hasn't really allowed that to happen. He fought either very good wrestlers or very good anti-grapplers. He fought Umar Nurmagomedov, Patchy Mix, who obviously we know could be a possible fraud, but still high-level wrestling. Jose Aldo, maybe the best takedown defense in the sport at one point at least. And then even Blackshear, who is a high-level grappler. I think he can get that going. He can really get Oliveira tired, work a little bit. We're going to be Apex Cage. I think he's going to find top time, really grind him. So you can get up now again, the numbers coming in here, and you can almost start to really look at, I think Bautista, money line here. But if you're looking for a little bit extra, I like inside the distance here at plus 165. I think it's very likely here that it's going to be some competitive rounds early, but I think Bautista finds a way to put him away later in the fight. So I think Bautista inside the distance is a good spot here.
Yeah, 3 rounds, I'd feel a lot better about Oliveira.
I agree.
5 rounds. Ugh, I love Oliveira. I love him, man. His toughness against Said, that injury he had was really, really impressive. But yeah, 5 rounds is tough. The good news, Kyle, is whoever loses this one, I think will get an incredible price on their next fight. because
Yeah.
both these guys, they're going to go down in level of competition, and then you're going to get incredible prices. So
And
great
plus
breakdown.
people really look at, I feel like Bautista is so overlooked. Like, you know, he's not the flashy guy. He doesn't talk a lot. He doesn't have a shtick or some kind of thing that he does. He just goes out there, and there was even a point where he was just tough to book. You know, people didn't really want to fight him because they didn't see the upside in fighting him because he was just a dark horse in the division. So I think this is a spot where it's just, you know, too much here for Oliveira. And I just think Bautista's better everywhere.
Let's move on to the co-main. I believe it's the co-main.
Yeah.
Horiguchi and Albazi. Man, I love Horiguchi in this spot. Albazi, so many injuries. Hasn't fought in forever. I think the speed is just too much for Albazi. Horiguchi's going to run circles around this guy, I think. How do you break it down?
Yeah, so you know, you got Horiguchi here. He's sitting around that minus like 350 mark. On the comeback here, you've got Albazi around that plus 250 mark. And this is actually Horiguchi's second stint in the UFC. You know, back about 10 years ago, he was 7-1 in the UFC, only lost to Demetrius Johnson, looked really good, went to Ryzen, had a lot of success over there. Now he's come back at 35. Now, normally in these lower weight classes, the shelf life is definitely shorter, as we've talked about many times in the show, that obviously when you start to get on the wrong side of 35, things can fall off quickly here. But I thought his comeback to the UFC against Tagir Ulanbekov, he looked incredible. I mean, I think he looked in great shape. He was able to move forward, find opportunities, you know, get the takedowns, get the submission victory, and looked really great. While on the other side here, to your point, you know, Albazi is a guy that's got some red flags. And the biggest one is going to be, you know, injuries. You know, this is a guy that over the last few years has had multiple very serious injuries. He had a neck injury, then had neck surgery, had an issue with his heart at one point. You know, then there was a point where even recently against, who was it? Tatsuro Taira, you know, it was a late pull. He wasn't medically cleared. So there's a lot of issues there for a guy. Now he's 32 years old. I don't say he's definitely not old, but again, this is a wear and tear type of thing. This is a thing that, what optimal shape is he really in? Is he just in recovery mode, or is he really sharpening his tools and getting better? And then the other part of it is, even when you look at his wins, they haven't really aged well, or they haven't really looked that good. I mean, he beat Alessandro Costa on very short notice. You know, credit to him getting the victory, but it was a very short notice fight for him. Then you have him, he beat Kai Kara-France in a fight I thought he clearly lost. And Kai Kara-France outlanded him 133-64 on total strikes landed, yet they gave it to Albazi. And then his most recent fight, he gets slapped around by Brandon Moreno and loses a clear decision. I just think this is just a bad matchup for him. I think the footwork is going to be there for Horiguchi. I think that the striking, his distance management, and also the takedown defense, I think that's something that he's going to have here, where even if Albazi, who is going to absolutely sell out for the takedowns, I don't even think he keeps Horiguchi down. I think that's when Albazi has a chance to slow down a little bit. And Horiguchi, I think, is going to work at range, land the cleaner, more impactful shots, and just steer clear of the danger on the ground. So I do like Horiguchi, but getting off the minus like 350 number, you can get him by points sitting around minus 120. I think that is a very likely outcome. I don't think he's going to be able to out wrestle him and submit him the way he did to Tagir. So I think this is a spot where it's a sprawl and brawl and he wins in the scorecard. So give me Horiguchi by points here.
Love it. Agree completely with that one. I'm wondering if they told Albazi you're fighting Horiguchi. This just seems like a bad matchup for him.
Right. They're like, come on out. We're good. And plus Horiguchi now is a point where, I mean, a great win here. He's like a fight or like he's right on the cusp of a title shot. And I think they kind of want that, especially now it's a go time for him at 35.
Absolutely. Absolutely. What do you have up for everybody for this weekend?
Yeah, so I do have a 4% play up. I actually have 5 plays in total right now. The bigger ones is a 4 and a 3%. And we're coming off a nice UFC 2, 325 last weekend. It was a nice win for us. We cashed on our 5% max bet on Benoit Saint-Denis inside the distance, which was a minus 120 win. Nice, easy win. I'm counting on that again this weekend. So check it out. We'll probably have about 7 plays. I like this card from a betting perspective. So let's cash it again. And don't forget, listen, I understand Super Bowls this weekend. I get it. I got it. But let's look into the other sport the day before, because I think there's going to be more action and more excitement in this Apex card than probably the Super Bowl.
Yeah, agree completely. I mean, Knuckle Mania and PFL are also Saturday. Like it's a
right.
combat
This is a
sport
violence
galore.
weekend. And wait, listen, and if anybody cares, which they probably don't care, I like New England money line, and I also like Drake May to get the MVP. Give me that. I already put it in there. Listen, I don't know. I think I'm against the grain on that a little bit there, but I think people forget who Drake May is after that in the blizzard that they were in the other week.
I love it. Kyle Anthony dropping some Super Bowl little sprinkles.
And that's not, you don't got to pay for that one. That one you don't have to pay for it.
Kyle knew the assignment here, baby.
Yeah, that one's not a client play or anything. It's just, this is just, coming out of my mouth right now.
I love it, Kyle. Good luck. A lot of volume for Kyle
Thanks,
this
Kyle.
weekend. Let's have a big weekend, brother.
All right, you too, guys. Take care, guys.
Appreciate you, man.
All right, we're going to do
WT.buzz/KA is where you can find that out. Yeah, I'm ready for you, Andy.
Okay, from a viewing standpoint, is this a good card or bad card of fights? It's feast or famine. You've got some really great matchups, and then you've got some horrible matchups. You got some ones you're going to be bored out of your effing mind, and then you got some must watch. I'm serious, man. Like,
I believe it.
Some fights that are awful, and then some fights that are like incredible matchmaking. So, you want to do Super Bowl props or all around the world?
Let's do all around the world, and then we'll end it off here with the Super Bowl props. I know people are waiting with bated breath for today's edition. So what do we got in all around the world?
Okay, let's do all around the world here. All right. I think this week I've gone 0-3 or 3-0 on these. So let's see what we can do here. Ryan Kalkbrenner over 5.5 points. If it moves up to 6.5, don't take it. He only needs 3 baskets to get over this, and he's gone over in 8 out of 9 games. He's averaging 4.7 field goal attempts and 3.6 in the last 10 games. Rockets are thin at center, and the last game they played was against Boston. Boston had 2 centers go over 10 points or had 10 points or more. So I continue to like these bench centers going against the Houston Rockets. 76ers, Lakers, Kelly Oubre over 16.5 points plus assists, over in 3 straight, over in 8 out of 10. So he missed a bunch of time with the injury, but his minutes are back up to 33. And here's the big selling point, Dan. Your boy, cheating Paul George, is out. And Kelly Oubre has gone over in 5 straight games with Paul George. He's getting the opportunity with Paul George out. Shooting 49% from the field. Here's a big selling point. Lakers, dead last defending small forwards. They're giving up 31.5 points plus assists. This line is half of that. So Kelly Oubre over. And then we'll go to Lightning and Panthers. Radish over 2.5 shots on goal, over in 6 straight, 8.1 shot attempts per game. And the last 2 games against the Panthers, he's had 5 in both of those games. All right. Here we go. It's time for kind of goofy. You're not gonna be able to get a lot of money done on these props. These are for fun only. I would not include these in the banker. So I'll go first. I'll give you a couple because I have 7 of them.
Ooh.
Yeah, I have 7. So I'll give you all the halftime. I'll give you all the halftime ones. Will Bad Bunny mention the word ice during halftime show? I have yes at -120. Not only do you get the ice, the group, you also get like lyrics. Like, I got ice on my wrist. I got ice.
That's a great point.
So I'm just saying,
it doesn't have to be. It doesn't have to be. I like that, Andy. That's a good cap right there.
Yeah. Will Bad Bunny wear a dress? -120 on the yes, -120 on the no. This line terrifies me. This was going to be like -400. Now it's -120.
Yeah. It's kind of changed. Because initially he was even saying, hey, I'm going to, and then it's kind of been walked back since then. So he's worn it. He's never worn a dress in concert from the research that I have done, Andy, because I looked into this as well. He has worn it, red carpet, fashion week. He's worn something dress-like, we can say. But as far as performing, Andy, there's only been, a handful of them.
Will Bad Bunny give San Francisco a shout out? How do you not give us a shout out to the host city?
Good point.
And yes, Blocked, I do know Bad Bunny speaks Spanish.
Yeah, but here's a technicality on that prop. If he says ice in Spanish, Andy, Are we cashing that? Is there a technicality? Do we have any of the fine print? Would we still cash if we hear ice in Spanish?
All right, what do you got? I don't know. I didn't check. These are not big bets.
We'll
These
have
are just for
to
fun.
yellow. We'll have to
What
make
do you
sure
got?
if he's saying yellow. Yeah, we'll have to check into that. But Andy, all right. So in that same ilk, I do think before the performance starts, Green Day is also performing. And there's, a couple different props. They've changed some of the lyrics to some of their songs. They too have that prop, and the yes is actually plus money if Green Day, excuse me, Andy, is going. I see. I'm so used to capping football here on the show. The Green Bay American Idiots, yes, that prop is plus money. So if you do think Billy Joe Armstrong, who is a very outspoken man, that could be worth a little plus money there. Him to reference that, and also him to reference Minneapolis is minus money. So I feel like those two go hand in hand. So I feel like those to shout out our man Johnny G, who watches here. Those are incongruent lines. Things that I actually have bet, though, Andy, that I have here for you. How about a little ref handicap before we run down some of your other props? I'm looking at over 4.5 first downs by penalty. And here's the thought for me. This one is plus 120. So I obviously had to go to a website. I'll let you know what it is, NFLpenalties.com. And they handicap ref crews, their amounts of calls, when they call them, the down and distance when they're called. Sean Smith is going to be our lead ref for Super Bowl 60. While his crew is below the NFL average on volume of flags thrown, Andy, his crew is actually the league high. 35% of all flags thrown by them result in automatic first downs. The third most popular penalty for this crew is defensive pass interference. Seahawks like getting away with that penalty. Tied for fourth is unnecessary roughness and defensive holding. Both of those would be calls that would likely result in automatic first downs. He reffed the divisional championship game. This was the Patriots going against the Texans. So maybe Patriots fans are happy to see Sean Smith is going to be calling. Only 4 in that game went for a first down with penalty, but there were also some that were declined, Andy, as they got a first down. So I'm going with plus money over 4.5 first downs by penalty. Ref handicap for you. Boom.
I like it. Couple more for me. You got to wait a while. Walker and Stevenson combined rushing yards. Will it be higher or lower than the cut line at the Masters? The cut line was 146. I think they go over that. I think this is a heavy running game. Will they mention that this is Sam Darnold's second trip to the Super Bowl? He was a backup in 2024. How does that not get mentioned? That's like one of those cute things. This is not Sam Darnold's first trip to the Super Bowl. I feel like
you got to understand here, Mike. This is actually his second trip to the Super Bowl. He didn't really have as much feature in there, buddy. This is his second.
Yeah. I've also got the Kid Rock other halftime show. Will he perform American Badass? The yes is minus 400. This is a lock. So as far as I'm concerned, like how do you not play that one? And then last one, national anthem, length of the word brave. How long does he hold the word brave? I have under 4.5 seconds. Charlie Puth is performing this. He's the guy that did See You Again with Wiz Khalifa for the Fast and Furious movie. You go and look at his performance. He doesn't hold the last words for very long. What he does is he gives the last word, and then he goes into a bunch of oohs and ahs. So picture the end of the song. When I see you again. He doesn't hold the last word. He holds the O's.
This is a good point.
So I don't be surprised if he gives you a brave and then an something or whatever. But I don't think he holds the word brave. And yes, that is as good as I can sing.
I like that, Andy. I got a cross sport here for you, and I actually think that this is a really good bet just based on here's what the market is, here's what averages are. So the cross sport for me that I have bet already, even money on Jaylen Brown to make more free throws against the Knicks than the margin of victory in the Super Bowl. Here's the reasoning. One. Here's the reasoning for me, Andy, is Jaylen Brown on the season. He's averaging 5.5 free throws made per game this season. What's the spread in this game? 4.5. And we have had sharp better after sharp better come on. You heard Gianni. A lot of these sharps are taking the 4.5. So this game, and if you just look at year over year, what did Teddy tell you about last year? Or last time he was on the show, he was mentioning how underdogs in the Super Bowl have been covering it at a terrific rate. I expect this game, Andy. Sure, could it be a blowout? Now with the injury to the secondary here for the Seattle Seahawks, I think that this game likely lands within that number. I think you're looking at a 3.2 point win. So margin of victory, having the spread at 4.5 and having a guy who's averaging over 5 3 throws per game at even money, this should be minus 110. We're getting 10 cents there, Andy. Give me Jaylen Brown free throws, more of them than the margin of victory.
All right. Love it. Love it. Running a little late. Thank you guys for joining us. Big show tomorrow. We're going to get you ready for a monster weekend of UFC. I think tomorrow I might come with a bare knuckle play for all you guys. There's a couple really good spots. Yeah, it's Knuckle Mania. It's a really good event. So a lot of good fighters in that one. So, but we'll of course be wrapping up the final Super Bowl coverage for this show. So, all right. Thank you very much, guys. Please hit the like button, leave a comment. Good luck on your bets, and we'll see everyone tomorrow. Take care.